Hello, everyone. Welcome back from the break. So my name is Dr. Julie Shikfa. I am a scientific program manager here at HESI, and I will be presenting just a brief overview again of the Botanical Safety Consortium and its purview before we get into the presentations on the specific assays. So as Cynthia discussed this morning, the current charge of the Botanical Safety Consortium is to evaluate the suitability of assays for botanicals as complex mixtures. In particular, the consortium is interested in new approach methodologies. So there's been a lot of recent interest in incorporating new approach methods, or NAMs, into chemical safety and risk assessment frameworks. However, most of this work has been done with discrete chemicals, such as pharmaceuticals. So it is currently unclear whether these approaches are suitable to evaluate botanicals due to their complex mixture, nature. Eventually, the consortium hopes to incorporate these assays into a testing strategy and framework to evaluate botanical safety. While we're looking at the assays, what we're, evaluating them on is whether they're established and reproducible, relevant for key mechanisms for botanical-induced toxicity, and suitable for botanicals as complex mixtures, which is of particular interest. We're also looking for the assays to be accessible for use by many groups and available at a reasonable cost. As Cynthia discussed this morning, there's a large number of technical working groups. Highlighted here is just a couple, specifically the genotoxicity group, the developmental and reproductive toxicity group, the hepatotoxicity group, the cardiotoxicity group, and the neurotoxicity group. And while I won't read each individual assay the technical working group selected, you can see them all highlighted on this slide. Each working group also nominated botanicals of interest. When the working groups were selecting botanicals, they were evaluating them based off the availability of existing toxicity information in the literature, as well as the presence of known toxic constituents, such as uracilolic acids, which have been discussed a couple times today, the availability of the botanicals from known reputable sources, and the availability of robust analytical methods so that they can be properly characterized. And again, these botanicals were selected for use as tools to evaluate the assays themselves, not to be evaluated by the assays. Again, as Cynthia discussed this morning, here's an example flow through of how we propose evaluating the assays. So the key assays selected by the technical working groups will be conducted with the selected botanicals as well as any standard assay controls. The resulting data would then be compared to existing data in the literature. The assays would be assessed to see if perhaps any refinements need to be made. And then if they are determined to be suitable for use with botanicals as complex mixtures, ultimately integrated into a framework. So the presentations today will be Dr. Stefan Fuller will be presenting the Tox Tracker assay on behalf of the Genotoxicity Working Group. Jessica Palmer will be presenting the DevTox assay on behalf of the Developmental and Reproductive Toxicity Group. Dr. Andre Montero de Roca will be presenting EPHIS and calcium measurements on behalf of the Cardiotoxicity Group. And then Dr. Lisa Trong will be presenting on the zebrafish embryo assay on behalf of the Neurotoxicity and DART group. So we will allow for, as time allows, there will be time for specific questions after each speaker, and then general questions can be used for discussion at the end of the session as time allows. Like the previous presentations, if you could either raise your hand after the speaker is finished or put your questions in the chat, that would be perfect. And with that, I will turn it over to Stefan.